The session of the Property Value Appeals Board. And the date is 9:00 AM on February 24th, 2025. And those persons present are Lonnie Ferber.
Craig.
I'm sorry, Craig Ferber, Bob Bass, and myself, Fred Worsley. And the oath has been taken. And we've signed those, verify the daily meeting notice has been posted. Verify all members of the pool have completed required training, which is done. Reach an agreement with the clerk about whether the clerk shall attend meetings, she's here. Or he, sorry, Dan. Confirm who will act as legal advisor, and that was the county council's available, okay.
She's right there, over there.
Okay. If a board appraiser is hired, there is none right now, or is there? Okay. Confer with the clerk to determine whether more is necessary based on the number of petitions received. Okay. Ask the clerk to review the names of members of the pool selected to sit on boards. That's us.
You were the entire pool, and you're the entire pool for chair as well.
Okay. Determine the time to be allotted for each. Approximately, it says 2 minutes per penalty waiver petitions, 15 minutes approximately for adjacent parcels, etc. Establish a policy regarding rescheduling hearings. Have we got a policy? Okay, none. Establish a policy about whether or not the board will swear in witnesses. Do we have a policy swearing in? No. Establish how to handle telephone conference calls. Do we have any telephone?
We do not.
Establish a policy about security measures to handle the counties taking care of that. Okay. Establish a policy of proof necessary that a petition is filed timely, and we've done that. Okay. Discuss what constitutes a quorum, 2 or more.
Yes.
Discuss whether the board wishes to authorize one member of or the clerk to amend orders that contain clerical errors, and we've done that, and appointed the member of the clerk accordingly. Okay. Decide whether the board will make its decisions at recalculated values while taxpayer is present or at another time. Usually do that now. Okay. Decide on a policy about the circumstances under which the board will reduce a penalty instead of waiving 100% of penalty. Isn't that up to us, just
A quorum.
yeah, okay, the board. And finally, schedule additional meetings. We don't anticipate any at this point.
And yes, please,
What's that?
you need to hit the gavel if you haven't already,
Oh,
opening the meeting.
we're opening.
Open for business.
And then just to make sure you guys are continuously aware, you have the option of receiving a stipend.
Oh, we've filled out all the papers, and I think we all agreed we're not taking a stipend.
Thank you. We're grateful.
All right, we're ready to begin.
Someone's
and,
gotta pay for the donuts, right?
We'll give, another few minutes to this first petition, and then if not, sustain the value.
Well, you'll hear Heather's
Okay,
sign.
okay. Maybe 5 minutes or less,
Your decision.
okay, guys?
Whatever time you agree on is how much
Not
more
a
time
5
takes your.
Well, I think it'd be fair to give them 5 minutes. Or any comment, you guys?
I think we just should, if Steve's first on the list and he's here, we might as well start with Steve, and if somebody comes in later, then we'll go back to him.
Okay.
Okay,
In my opinion, I mean,
so which number is that?
The first one is petition 20, petition 20.
Okay, we will start with petition 20.
That's Tony Sherman and Rima Thompson.
Okay.
Deanna.
Is this the church building?
It is.
Have you done it before?
Last year you did it.
Last year.
They appeared for themselves last year.
One for you. One for you. One for you. And the last one for you. This has already been mentioned, they appealed this last year, they came in here wanting to appeal their taxes versus the value. Basically, they finally got a hold of me, the guy goes to garage sales, so he sees me occasionally, and he said, hey, can I hire you? And me being the good guy I am, I said, okay. Anyway, this thing sold May 20th of 20 for $180,000. I think there was some question as to whether that was arm's length. So basically, after the assessor, you guys set it at 360, lacking any evidence last year. This year, the assessor raised it 57.95% to $568,000. So I question whether adjudication is being applied properly in this case. And that resulted in the taxes increasing almost $1,600. Before I left the assessor's office in 2005, we were supposed to value all the exempt properties, so we started putting together some sales grids, and I have to say I was shocked at how low these churches were bringing. Anyway, so the first thing I wanted to do is to clarify this was an arm's length sale. So I talked to Jody Tatone, he was a listing agent. He's the principal broker. The property was listed for 270 days, almost, 9 months. Starting at $249,500, then due to lack of interest, it was lowered to $199,500. It was at that point in time that the taxpayers in question here made their offer 10% below the $199,500 at $180,000. It was the only offer ever made. So it wasn't like people, were fighting over this or anything. And given that, they accepted it. It was the church in Roseburg, and they carried, it was a memorandum of contract sale. I think there was $50,000 put down. Anyway, in speaking with Jody, I asked him if this was listed on the RMLS, and he said, yes, it was. And that basically means everyone worldwide with a computer could have seen this listing and if they were interested in it. He opined that he was surprised by the low prices commanded by old churches. And I asked him, did he feel it was fair market value? He replied yes. Then I spoke to Patty Archambault, All Pro Realty. I asked her if she could do a church sale on RMLS. So she printed out all the sales of churches from 2000 forward, 23 years worth. In review of that data, she echoed Mr. Tatone, saying she was surprised. So I have you a list of 21 sales listed via RMLS since 2000. The median sale price, average sale price, is $185,000. I'm requesting $190,000 on the subject. Candidly, I don't think it'd sell for $175,000, but that's what I requested. The low sale is $100,000 and the high is $251,000. So there's your bracket of sales of churches that are no longer churches. The most recent sale was a sale in Myrtle Creek, and it sold June 2nd of 23 for $251,000. It was built in 1890 and is completely updated and remodeled with a new roof. The assessor's 2024 RMV on that property was $321 or 28% above the sale price. The subject's a 1962 church, was when it was built. It's located as you go about 6 or 7 blocks down Locust Street, and you get out and you go around where that old brick school is and around a couple of bends in the road, and it's up on a hill. Lots of single wides there to view if you like that kind of thing and stuff like that. Anyway, the problem with this thing is it's got asbestos floors, asbestos ceilings, needs a new paint job. I got an estimate on the cost just of removing the asbestos tile, and that was $35,000. That's just removing it because it's put on with the tar. Or even just covering it up, if you look at $5 a square foot, that's $32,800. I got an exterior paint and rod estimates, I'm guessing $5,000. Of course, you never can tell when you get to how much you got underlying that you can't see. Lastly, the Supreme Court in Kim denotes the sale of subject, while not conclusive, is very persuasive. And then we'll start going through. On page 4, you'll see a picture of the subject. And I have to say they took this on with a good camera. Page 5, you will see the information down highlighted at the bottom. It was listed combined days on market 270, sold date sold for 180, list price was 199.5. Page 6 are the 21 sales of churches. Now, as you go down that line, you will see there is nothing that's sold for over 251. It's the highest sale. That's the latest one of a completely remodeled church. Page 7, it shows you the median sold was 185. Again, it says the high sale and the low sale. High sale is 251, low sale is 100,000. Page 8 are pictures of the subject as it exists now. You'll see it's on a hillside and it's 2 levels. Page 9. Ceiling tile stained with rain leakage. That is the elevator that they have on the side for handicap. Part of the paint job problems. Page 10, floor tiles that they're taping down now so they don't trip on them. This is their master bath, the one that is over here. And believe me, it is something that is roughed in. And the old boiler. Page 11 is just more pictures of the subject and its need for repairs. Page 12 is the latest sale. Sold for $251, built in 1890. Has a lot of character. It's on Division Street in Myrtle Creek, as you like if you're heading out towards North Myrtle. Completely remodeled, new roof. And you'll see pictures of that on page 14, the quality of the interior. And page 15 is more of the same. Based on all this, I request that the value of the subject be set at $190. I do not believe it would sell for that these days. And the problem with it is church attendance has taken a nosedive. And to show you that, this is a sale of a church that is much, much larger. It's got 8,087 square feet. And it is down in Dillard, and you'll see it's got some structural, like a steeple and all that. Anyway, this thing sold for $170,000, and it's 8,087 square feet on flat land and along Highway 99. What happened? Churches are, the attendance on churches are lower than they've ever been. They're 47%. That sale there occurred in 2017, the one that you have in front of you. So churches were already, losing members. And then COVID hit. So that pretty much put the death blow on churches. If you remember, there was a big lawsuit of whether or not they could meet and all this kind of stuff during the COVID So with all that, I will tell you, this here is the definition of real market value. If anyone can tell me why the sale of the subject doesn't meet that criteria, please do, because I have looked it over and cannot find anything that doesn't meet the criteria. This would be an arm's length sale. Talk to the realtors, everything else. These churches just don't sell for anything. So I ask that you give the taxpayer my request, $190,000. I do think that there's an issue with the assessor adding another 63 or whatever percent and raising it to 500 some thousand after you guys just had reduced it to 360 the last year. So I think that's it for me.
So have they done anything since they bought it? I can't remember what
What's that?
had they done anything since they bought it? I can't remember.
Made it worse.
Oh, okay.
That's why I brought you the
Yeah,
pictures.
it didn't look like it, but I didn't know if they did a roof or.
They put some metal over there's kind of, if you look on,
Yeah, I saw that.
they put some metal over
steeper
that.
part.
But that's just kind of like putting a Band-Aid on something. The rest of the roof is a flat roof.
No, it's just a big project when you think about painting it or flooring or roof. Or...
Yes. So in that vein, I took the $251,000 latest sale and took a 25% adjustment off of that. It amounts to like $62,000 worth of work. The adjustment to get the subject in as pristine a condition as the 1890s church. And if any one of you guys have ever done construction, believe me, it is not cheap. So that's my spiel.
So this sold,
in 19 or something.
19, okay. 20.
May 20th of 20 for 180.
And we lowered it,
You put it at 360, but the guy came in here with nothing. He was appealing his
okay,
taxes.
but we did that to 360.
Yes.
in 19.
No, last year.
Last year, oh, okay, okay.
And then the value was increased to 568,000 this year, a 58% increase, which I do not understand.
Maybe we can get that figured out.
Any other questions?
Not a,
Ready for me?
Heather?
So what I'm handing you out is just a great comparison of sales for the subject property. The assessor's recommended value is the board's prior value of $360,000. Our value is due to, there was a mistake in the valuation as well as there's trending because obviously the residential market has increased. The thing, I think the biggest difference between how they're viewing the property versus how we're viewing the property is it is not a church, it's a home that somebody is living in, so therefore we're identifying it as a residence, not as a church. We have provided some similar sales as to what the petitioner provided. Some of our sales though are churches that are now used as residences, and you can see that there is a distinct value difference between a church versus a residence. Comparable number 3 was a church and is now a residence. Comparable number 4 and 5 were both churches. One is number 4 is a duplex, and number 6 is a small residence with a large garage. And then comparable number 6 is simply a listing, Jasmine's that you guys are all probably familiar with. It is a church that was converted into a event center. It's been on the market for a very, very long period of time. But our downtown Roseburg market is pretty depressed, so that will explain that. So again, we are recognizing the property as a residence, not as a church, so therefore because we're recognizing it that way, we have to reflect the value that is more of a residential value than a church value. So we recommend $360,000. Do you have any questions?
Why, just because they reside in the church?
Correct.
It doesn't function as a church?
Correct.
They don't hold church services?
Not that we're aware of.
But you've got a whole list, 20-some that are churches
The petitioner does, yes.
Right. And just because they use it as a home, but yet are any of these that are listed on the petitioner's homes?
I don't know, let me look. I will tell you that the one he provided for Dillard, it is a residence.
And yet it's in this
let's
range
see.
of value or,
Okay, so again, the one on Dillard that is on here is a residence. Rifle Range Road is a residence. Lane is not, Harvard is not,
did you go and adjust those or will be adjusted?
they are valued, yeah, the one in Dillard is valued as a residence. The one on Rifle Range Road is valued as a residence. Old Pacific Highway, I'm not sure which one that is. Alder and Canyonville, that one is the 475 Alder and Canyonville is a church and operates as a church. Leon is a childcare facility for the Cow Creeks. Roberts Creek is a residence. Coos Bay, Coos Bay North Bend, I'm not familiar with because it's not Douglas County. The one on Cedar and Drain, I'm pretty sure if it's the church, I think it is also a residence.
I think they're multifamily or something.
I'm not 100% sure. And then the one on Frontage Road in Reedsport, I think that one's still a church.
But these are all arm's length sales
Correct,
and
at the time. Correct.
yet
But remember, the subject sold in 20. I am not allowed to recognize that sale any longer because it's too old. I'm supposed to be using the sales from the most recent sales to value the property because we have to look at each standing year for our valuation. And so the 2020 sale, as a church, it is now a residence. In 21, it became a residence. So then from 21 forward, we have to value it as a residence. So therefore, we use residential sales,
right.
not church sales to value it.
These sales listed by the petitioner, are they after that?
No, these are all these sales were at the time that all those pieces of property were operating as churches.
Right, but I mean.
Several of them have been converted to residences since then. But they have obviously not appealed, so therefore I have no idea whether or not, I couldn't tell you what our value is on them currently. But yes, we do value the ones that have been converted as residences. But yes, all these sales were of them they were an empty church or maybe perhaps an operating church at the time that they sold. Most of them were probably empty and not operating at the time they sold.
Well, on this sheet, it didn't list the sales price. Are these recent sales? I mean, within the last year or two or three? And that, I'm asking those guys.
No, I went all the way back to 2000, just to show that these churches habitually have never brought any value.
Are there any current on this?
The 23 sale of the Myrtle Creek one is the latest.
Okay, and that's your, didn't we have a bid for that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And that was 2023?
Correct,
I
and
have-
that's comparable number 2 on my chart.
I would like to respond to Ms.
Yeah, we'll let the assessor.
That's fine, yes.
Is that
So comparable number 2 is the same as what their comparable is, they have that one on there.
Okay.
So,
It seems to me though that a lot of these, what has fueled a lot of these high-priced sales of churches has been churches in prime commercial areas where they discovered that, hey, you know what, if we sold our prime commercial land and located more out of the city, we could save tons of money.
I will tell you, in Douglas County, we haven't had any of those. It's most of those rural churches that are no longer able to operate that have sold and become residences, such as the subject.
How did you come up with the value so different? Are you just using square footage and the condition of the property? or-
So our new recommended value is the board's prior value of $360,000.
Okay,
As I said, our record, we had an error in it, as well as there's trending on there. So we are required by law every year to do a ratio study that tells us whether the market is improving or decreasing. So based on that, the residential properties in Oakland increased last year, so therefore the value needed to increase. So that's why the value increased. The adjudication on these properties are still allowed to increase or decrease following what our ratio study tells us. So, but as I said, there was an error in how the entry was done, so we do have a problem there that we would fix irregardless, or would have fixed irregardless, but there still would have been an increase in value pretty significantly because the residential market in Oakland did increase last year.
what do the stats say if you classify it as a church?
Well, that's why I included some church sales as well. However, again, I have to reflect the value in use of the property as of the assessment date. As of the assessment date, as far as we are aware, the property is operating as a residence. So I can't speculate on what we would value it as a church because that's not what it was.
Okay. We need to move this, go ahead quickly. if you
All
would.
right, you hit right on the money. 3 types of depreciation are physical, functional, and economic, and these churches are not residences. This is being used as an internet sales deal, that's why they wanted the square footage. I would remind you, this thing was listed when the guy bought it for $199,500. Anyone could have bought it, so its value in exchange, this value in use is something that the department always tries to push. And it just doesn't work that way in the market. I mean, if you can use it and live there, fine. If you can't, you can't.
This was
You can-
listed for 9 months,
Yes,
yeah, and then
it started out at 2. You can make me put my glasses back
It's
on.
5 years ago you're talking about.
Yes, but yeah, I do not believe there is anyone in this room with church. I mean, this is value in exchange is what you're looking for, not value in use. And the value in exchange of this thing just is not there. And you also hit it on the point of location in case you can, change the land value. This is not that. This is, like I said, heading out Driver Valley in the sticks, looking at single-wide mobile homes. The 190, I think, is more than fair, because like I said, I don't think they could get 175. It was in better shape when they bought it.
okay,
And you saying that this does function as a church?
It was used as storage by the church for 7 years before they said it's superfluous to our needs, let's just get rid of it. And it was listed for 9 months, starting at, what was it, $235?
But now is it functioning as a church or a residence?
No, it's just functioning as these guys bought it, they live in there. That picture of the shower they have shows how much, that would be on page 10. I mean, they're just running a marketing internet deal, selling crap on the internet out of this. But regardless of that,
we need to, yeah, I'm just not comfortable with this information here and putting 360 on it now, but I'm thinking something less.
I have my opinion.
Okay. Go for
Do
it.
you wanna talk or should I make a motion?
You can make a motion.
Okay, I'm gonna motion on petition number 20 to keep the land at 114,000 and on the structure put 136,000 for a total RMV of 250,000. That's about $20 a foot on the building.
that one that I have from Dillard sold for $17 per square foot, but
It's also dated.
keep in mind that this thing was, okay, never mind.
You can go ahead,
Huh?
you can go ahead.
This thing was listed for 9 months. I mean, these churches just don't bring that.
5 years ago, a lot of things have happened in 5 years.
Do you think church attendance has increased or decreased?
Decreased?
And that's why when you're comparing this with the latest sale from Myrtle Creek, that sold for $251.
I know, and I'm saying this one can't be worth more than that.
Exactly. It's worth a lot less than that because that one had a new roof and was pristine. You guys gotta get this down below 200,000 because it was listed at 199.5 and no one was interested in that. Church values have not gone up. You don't have any, you've lost your base to justify having the churches.
That was
As
five-
big as they
it's
are.
5 years ago.
Big dry storage.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
And your
break it
reference
up.
how church attendance has gone down so much, well, it's not functioning as a church, so
exactly.
is that irrelevant?
What was that? I didn't hear that.
Isn't that irrelevant then?
If it's not functioning as a church,
If you're
That
gonna
church
talk to
attendance
the
has dropped.
podium.
it's not functioning as a church, but that means it's got a lot of functional obsolescence in it. I mean, if you have just, you could live in a storage unit if you wanted to, that doesn't mean it's gonna be worth what a residence is. So it's just what the market's bearing out. And like I said, I saw this first in 2005 and was shocked. Jody Tatone was shocked, Patty was shocked, but the market is what the market is. And again, if you start with 180 as a base, and if you think it's increased, because I think that proving that it was worth that in 2020 via this, it was arm's length transaction. I do not believe that it's gone up any.
Would the land have gone up? I mean, that part of that? I mean, to offset,
that's land
to offset your, you know, what's been deteriorated, would that? I guess what I'm thinking is, I'm more leaning towards decreasing it, but Lonnie, you're saying, or Lonnie, Craig, you're saying that it's the same as the church in Myrtle Creek?
I just don't think it's worth more than that church in Myrtle Creek.
No,
I mean, the
but,
land might be,
but I mean, comparing that one to the, this one, wouldn't you consider it less than that?
yeah, I'm $1,000 less.
Less than that? I guess I'm not, anyway, if
Well,
you,
I mean, the
If you wanna
land,
Go lower, go lower.
I mean, the land's at 117, so certainly the land is appreciated in value, right?
right, that's my point, I'm just not sure,
I'm not
think
sure
that
that-
that's the worth of Myrtle Creek.
I'm not sure the building is worth 450,000.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely-
It's,
That's,
that land is
You
a
need to stand at the
gentle
podium
slope.
to talk.
So they staved it out, put a basement underneath it and jammed it in there, there's no
You need to stand at the podium and
commercial.
talk. The video doesn't
okay,
come
well,
up in their
did
seats.
you make a motion? Do you
He
wanna?
did,
Okay,
for, repeat your motion, Greg, please.
I'm gonna motion to put the land at 114,000 and the structures at 136,000 for a total RMV of 250,000.
Just a point that the microphone is built into that right there. And the person that's monitoring our video recording, he's not hearing your voice when you sit there. So if you make comments, just step forward a little bit.
Anyway, I've been doing this a long time, guys. This is not worth anything more than what I'm requesting. I'm telling you that. You can factor in all the stuff. You hit it exactly. If that totally remodeled church, which the assessor had valued, overvalued, sold for 251, this has gotta be worth substantial. I used 25%. I plucked it out of thin air, but I just felt that kinda threw it all together. So if you don't think there's a $62,000 difference in this church and that church,
There could be in the land.
there isn't in this land. Here, that one picture I gave you, yeah, and it's, yeah. You spin out on the gravel road leading up to this.
we need to move on. I guess my point here was that I guess I'm not completely convinced of your figure, Craig, but something less than that, more than 200, but if you made the motion, or Bob made the motion.
I didn't make it, Craig,
Oh,
yeah,
Craig.
it's subject to a second, I realize.
I guess I'm more comfortable in I would say 220.
Okay, and keep the land the same.
Well, the total, I guess I was looking at the total.
I would, personally, I think, I mean, obviously there's functional obsolescence, so my opinion is the land's fine, we just need to tweak with the structure.
Yeah, I just don't see it being compared to the one in Myrtle Creek. I mean, that close, I guess I'm just.
So 120 on the land and 100 on the building?
Yes, but you made the motion of yours, so,
Well, it can pass,
huh?
it can pass, I mean,
Okay, well, I make a motion, what was it, 220,000 total, 100 on the land.
120 on the land and
Well, if you're,
You said
you were saying 220, so that would be 114 on the land and 106 on the building.
Yeah, to get to 220, you were saying.
And I'm comfortable with that.
Okay,
I'll second Fred's motion. For 114 on the land and 106 on the building.
ayes, aye,
you'll second.
I'll second it.
okay. Then we carry,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the 9 o'clock or something come in?
Which one were you?
Jody's with me for
Okay.
the other ones, but
No.
the gentleman in the yellow,
He's Coon,
oh, okay, making sure.
yeah. Coon Hollow. He's our 1045.
Should we move to our 10 o'clock with Roger?
Yeah, should we do,
And then we need to go back to the ones prior. You are up, Roger.
what number?
23 is the first one. He has 23 and 26.
This one again.
Yes.
This would be for future, it's not concerning this.
That's the next one.
Okay, this appeal, you may recognize from last year, we appealed this, it's a house up on Rock Creek Lane. And you guys set the value of that property, it's a new house, a new barn that was constructed after a disastrous fire that leveled everything up there. And last year you guys placed it at $700,000. Now, when you looked at it in February 24, you put it at $700,000 for the completed house. And it was completed at that time. However, technically, there was 2 small things that were not completed at that time. And one of them was a 15 by 18 wooden deck at ground level. And the other one was a 3-foot sidewalk that goes around half of the house. Now, the value of those 2 things were less than $15,000, what they paid for it. The assessor raised the value $101,000 and also put that as an exception value. Is if you, here, in fact, let's do this here. Okay, if you look at the, on page 2, this describes what minor construction is. Minor construction, according to Measure 50, is not taxable. And the minor construction used to be, if you remember, it was $10,000 a year and $25,000 after 5 years. In '23, the legislature changed that, and it's now $18,200 in 1 year and $45,000 in 5 years. In fact, that has changed because every year, finally, they've been talking about it 20 years to change it. They've raised that minimum value at what the CPR is. So the legislature has changed it for 2025 and raised it again. So anyway, and so that's highlighted there under minor construction. If you go down a little bit, minor construction, new property and new improvements does not include changes in value due to minor construction. So it should not be even considered. So for two reasons, it should be negated and going back to last year's value that you guys placed on it. Both the MAV and the real market value. Now, the assessor told my client that there was three things, and the other thing was a lean-to on the edge of the garage. If you go to page 5 and 6, it's a picture of the garage and that they built, and if you look up at the top, that picture was taken in 2022.
2001?
22. So a long time ago, and it was done at the time. So again, you guys placed it at 700,000, I believe, for a completed house last year. And then, so basically it should go back to last year's values, and that's what we're requesting.
So you're saying the increase in value of 100,000 is the result of the minor construction?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll hear from the assessor.
The
Well, you're focusing your argument on a minor construction, so apparently you
oh,
think
right,
that.
the minor construction is a 15,000 is what it costs. I mean, it's a 15 by 18 deck and a small 3-foot sidewalk, and all you gotta do is use common sense, and it doesn't cost 100,000, doesn't even cost 20,000.
Well, shouldn't the value at least go up the cost of that?
Well, if you guys think it should be, I don't think it should be, cause I think you guys, it was done when you guys looked at it last year.
And it says
And you
minor,
guys-
minor construction, you are not held to any, what is it, 18.2 for this 2024?
Correct.
Does not exceed 18.
So they,
Well, let's hear from-
they raised, you guys had a value, or a MAV of 454, or excuse me, it was the year before, you guys had a MAV of $414,230.
Well, that's because of the 1.3, I mean,
No, but that's last year's value. This year, the assessor has it at 450,000.
you're saying we should stay within the
Correct.
realm of, yeah, okay, I got
Correct.
you. Well, I think we need to hear from the assessor.
Okay? Hang on a second, let me get this out.
So again, here's a comparison grid of sales for the property. So I would like to note that prior to the appeal last year, our office had not been granted access to the property. So we did not get access to the property until in time for this hearing, or in time for the hearing last year. And at that time, we picked up the lean-to, the decks and the concrete and the fence. But because our record, we had not, again, been on the property prior to that, our record did not include those things, so therefore we added them in the year in which we discovered them, which is how we're required to do it by law. So last year's value, which you decided upon, did not reflect any of those items because they were not in our record at that time. So therefore, we exceptionalized them for the new year, which is what we're here for this year. So we added approximately $41,000 of exception value for the lean-to, the deck, the concrete, and the fencing for the 2024 year. That 41,000 is then taken by the CPR. So that $36,000 increase that you see in the assessed value is for those new items that were not previously on the assessor's roll.
What did you put on the lean-to?
I could not tell you that.
So you just have that bulk figure?
The exception,
It was those
the exception value is $41,000, yes. Because again, none of those items did we have previously valued.
Then how did you value the house back then, or
What do you mean?
as, well, you weren't allowed access to it,
Right.
so.
So we do it based on the best information available to us. So we
Which
would look
was?
at a aerial photo and we would take some basic measurements off of that.
You did an aerial photo?
Correct.
You did not see the lean, when did you do the aerial photo?
So we would have done it for the first, I'm guessing, again, I don't have the record in front of me, so therefore I'm assuming since they appealed it last year was the first year that it was put on the roll.
Okay.
As being complete as to the best of our knowledge. And then when they go to appeal it, we are granted that, we were granted the inspection, so then we corrected the roll to reflect
Right.
what's there as of January first as far as we know.
Give me a date of that aerial photo, I mean, you said.
Oh, most of our photos are a year behind. So it would have been a year behind.
Which would
So it would have been, if we were dealing with, probably a 22 aerial photo is probably what year we had. Cause I think we just recently got 20.
that's what the petitioner said it was.
They said, yeah, they said that lean-to, correct, so, and those aerial photos, depending on the time of the year, you can be taken anytime between May and August.
Okay.
So depending upon when they built that lean-to, it probably wasn't on the aerial photo, which is why we would not have
But
valued
you
it.
don't know that for sure.
We would not have known that until we got on site.
Okay.
And then we had that site inspection after January of 2024, but we were supposed to be reflective of what was there as of 2023.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we were
But you don't have a breakdown of those three items, the sidewalk, the deck, I mean,
no,
putting
it's
the value.
all one value,
Okay, and
yes.
that was again,
$41,000. That was prior to the CPR. So
right,
the CPR then reduces it to the 36,000 you see on the. So
Okay.
Also, please note that our real market value, which is supposed to be reflective of what we see in the market, so that's why we do have that big difference. But again, that value is trended based upon what occurs in the market, and this property is allowed to trend, like I previously stated.
these are comps,
So
right?
these are comparables of sales to the property that show that are supportive of our recommendation of $801,080 or $375 a square foot.
Okay. Board? Thoughts?
Excuse me, I have one additional thing. Remember, this is a 2,300 square foot house on 5 acres. And you guys put it at $700,000 for the house and the barn.
Why does your request for land go down?
What was that?
Your RMV you've requested for the land, which the assessor has at 143, you have it at 139.9. You don't view the land as appreciated at all?
Well, the land could have, to be very honest with you, in fact, I remember last year you wouldn't second that for the 700,000. I think it was too high last year at $700,000 for a 2,300 square foot class 5 house.
In a burned down forest.
And it was a burned down forest, it looks like it's still to this day, there's no curb appeal for that land at all. In fact, I doubt it.
I remember it had burned, but
Right, it burned,
certainly it looks a lot better 1 year later.
not much,
Not much, but.
not much, cause it's, everything was, as far as you can see, is burned, everything. So, but anyway, I just think that it should be, since you adjudicated it last year at $700,000, I think it should stay at that.
Craig? Any thoughts?
Well, I think what we did last year holds some weight, but add a little bit for the stuff they didn't know about. I mean, it is unfortunate that they can't get into some of these properties. So I think we should add a little something. Into is 40 grand, but I mean, whatever I guess, it's normally double.
I mean, we don't have pictures of that, do we? There's no pictures of it, right?
You can kinda see it on that cell phone picture, I mean, it's just a shed roof. Kinda.
You're looking for pictures of the house?
No, that lean-to,
The
he's.
lean-to and the.
Oh, yeah, there's pictures of it.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got a big picture and you can see it parked there, but that was taken in 22. It completed in 2022.
But you don't know what,
Time. You look at this picture.
do you know when exactly in twenty, I mean,
Kinda see it
within
on the
a
side.
month?
It should.
I'm just concerned
Actually, that date of that picture,
what
Yeah,
was it,
it's nothing.
do you know?
is, I believe,
That's just a roof.
October.
Yeah,
October
it's a
31st.
shed little-
Yeah, it's just a
So
roof.
when they took that picture showing the lean-to was already completed.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's-
And you're saying that the assessor said that, what, May to October? They could have the aerial,
No, cause they looked at it a year later.
she said 2022. That the aerial would have been done.
Yeah,
And you're saying it was done in October of 2022, so likely odds were that it was there.
correct.
But remember, I have to reflect what was on the property as of January 1st of each year. Depending obviously on what access we have.
Right, but you would have known possibly from that aerial or review or whatever film that had the lean-to.
If it had been on the aerial.
Right, right, and we can't verify that, but we're going with what you and the petitioner said. I agree with you, somewhere in between. Cause I think there is some value, even though it's burnt, it's still, I think, I don't know if you could, say that the land was only worth that. I do believe that the deck and the sidewalk are within this 18.2 range. But I'm a little hazy on the lean-to.
On you're hazy on the increase of the value of the land?
Well, what I'm saying is I think the land might be worth a little more,
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
I have no problem with that, but then as you acknowledge, the 15 by 18 deck and a sidewalk is worth less because it costs less than the 18,000.
Correct.
So therefore, there should not be any exception value, which would be raising the MAV. You can raise the value of the property or the house just from 3% or whatever you want to do. But the key is in the increase of the MAV, the maximum assessed value. And since that doesn't go up, if the value of the land goes up or the value of the house goes up, then that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. There
What do
any other questions?
I think 20,000.
20 increase
Yeah.
in the land,
As an
Yep.
exception,
In the land or the building?
the building.
building, okay.
Keep the land at one, I'll motion on petition number 23 to keep the land at $143,025 and increase the structures for the unknown improvements to $576,975 for a total RMV of $720,000.
So there's no.
And the exception would be $20,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I need you to say.
I'll second that.
A motion approved,
Passes and
passes. What's the wording?
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Next petition is also Roger.
While you're doing that, there is a court case called Eighth and Olive that says when there's something added, you have to add it in the proper year. In other words, they just picked it up and went forward, but they need to add it as omitted property and add it in the proper year. I'm just telling you that because it's got into who's on first, on what year and all that kind of stuff, so.
This is number 26?
How you doing, buddy? I know. Okay, this appeal is on a change of the MSAV of a 274.3 acre ranch in Dixonville at the end of Milton Road, if you know where that is. It's up in a canyon. And the value in excess of the 3% is not justifiable. Now, the assessor claims that even though nothing has changed, that the Oregon Administrative Rule 150308-1090 on page 3 of your packet allows them to do that. Unfortunately, there's some of the law that they're not complying with. The first one is highlighted. If you go to page 3, it says that the table can change if, there's a big if, and then there's a list of physical changes, which none of those have happened. But then it goes down under A, where if there was a comprehensive soil reclassification due to a new published government agency, the key word being new. Now, this particular study that they're talking about is done by Oregon State University. And if you go to page 5, this is a page from that study. And it says, unless otherwise indicated, statements in this publication refer to conditions in the survey in 1994. 94 to 2025 is 30 years. That does not constitute a new study. Now, the other requirement is on page 4 of this Oregon Administrative Rule. And it's highlighted if it's consistently applied and uniform within the county. Now, what the assessor has done, they've been working on it for a couple of years and they've done a few every year, but they have not consistently applied that to all land in the county. So with those two things, basically it amounts to you can't use that exception, the 1503081090, you cannot use that to change the MSAV of a property.
So you're saying that they skirted the 3% rule by saying that the soil was reclassified?
Yes. And the study said it was, however, it's not, this ranch, in fact, this is what I brought this for, first of all. This is a topo map of the ranch, and as you can see, it's very steep. And the reason that they say that they can change it because possibly they could make some sort of farm ground out of it rather than what they're using it for now, which is farm forest. It's zone farm forest. It's been used for farm forest for 50 years, since 1971, measure 100 from the state legislature. And in fact, they logged it 2 years ago and replanted it. They're using it consistently with what the zoning is, what's required, and just because a study that is no longer valid says that there's certain sections of that particular property that might be better soil and you can grow crops, you cannot grow crops and harvest it on a steep situation like that. You can't farm that ground. So from just a standpoint of common sense, it doesn't even matter if there's any better soil, which is controversial in itself, because it actually, a lot of the stuff on the sale, I mean, we got several maps of what the different soils are. It's not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, it's 15 or 20 different little fingers of soil according to the study. But like I said, the study is no longer valid and they cannot use that.
Question.
Sure.
Did they have a specific study presented to them? I mean, was there somebody went out and did in this
No.
30-year period or
None.
whatever?
When I was assessor, when everybody else was said, nobody even knew about that study. It was not requested by Douglas County or anybody else.
It was a study done in 1994,
Correct,
the last one that
correct,
you know of,
correct.
and nobody knows about. Somebody physically didn't go out and study that property,
No,
but you're saying the assessor is basing it on,
this study, which is a several 100-page study
okay,
and supposedly very comprehensive, but again, 30 years old.
okay,
And second of all, it has not been verified or validated that this is 100% correct.
well, that's what I'm going for, is that nobody's went out there and said, okay, because of this latest study, 1994,
Right.
this property now has changed to this soil or whatever,
Yeah.
okay.
But it's not just this property and this soil. It's this property and all these little fingers, which of course that does not make it conducive to farming, have different soil types.
Okay, and the last question for me is, nobody has come out there, there's nothing changed, everything's consistent with what you
Correct.
said.
Nothing has been changed.
And so the only thing you know of is that the assessment is being influenced by this study that nobody's went out on.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's very, very steep.
okay,
This is not flat ground like if it was a mile down the road where there is a lot of flat land out there.
okay.
And maybe some of that could be used for crops. This will never be used for crops.
So a decision by the assessor has been made that could be used for crops.
Correct.
That's
So
where you're coming
therefore-
from. Okay,
Therefore, they wanted to change the value of the soil, so
Okay.
they've raised it when that's not valid.
got it.
So you're not contending that the structures estimate was wrong,
No,
just the land?
just the land.
Is there a timber exemption on this?
There's no timber exemption, it's like I said, it's zone farm forest, and it's been used as timber, they've logged it 2 years ago. About 105 acres have been logged.
I think what he's saying is special assessment, not exemption.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, there is a special assessment on it.
Yeah,
For
but nothing's
timber.
changed in that.
But for timber,
That I don't know, I know it's a special assessment, I don't know if it's for
But if-
timber,
if,
but it,
Well, the assessor will let us know if it's been.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Any other questions?
We just haven't been asked to do this. I'm wondering if we even have jurisdiction, but I assume somebody checked into that.
You do have jurisdiction, I called the Department of Revenue and
Oh,
spoke at length, and they said, take it to the BOPTA board, or what it's called now. Because it has to do with valuation, and you guys do have the authority.
Great.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure we'll have some questions. So
Sure.
Let's hear what
If you have any other
has.
questions, just holler.
thank you.
Have a couple things. Actually, I'll do both at the same time. Oh, you don't need that one. Just real quick, just so you know, you are only allowed to decide on the practice of what we are doing, not on the value of what we are doing. If we applied the practice correctly, because you cannot do that yet, the value is not something that you can address because of your special assessment stuff. Oh, I forgot to give you everything, haven't I?
Are you saying that the value is fixed then?
By what,
Based on-
unless we determine that her method was not right, is that, okay.
Yes. So what I have provided you, the first thing is this is a letter that Mr. Hartman, our assessor, received from Department of Revenue directing us to ensure that we are adequately provided to obtain and utilize updated soil maps or reestablish computer access to previously available maps. GIS formatted is recommended. So per the direction from Department of Revenue, we started reevaluating all the special assessed properties in the county based on the new soil maps, because they're new to us. I reprinted this map. I don't have copies for everybody simply because it is old and it's big. So these are the soil map. This is the soil map that we previously provided or previously valued these properties on. This is from, as far as we can tell, is from the 1970s, maybe the 1980s. So this is the old soil maps compared to what we provided to you, which is the 1994 soil maps. So we did do an upgraded based on the request of what we've been told to go to new soil maps. And as you can tell, there is a significant increase. With regards to the soil, we have to use the best tools in our toolbox to come up with that. This tool is this map here. If people would like to disagree with us about our soil valuation based on this new updated information, they're more than welcome to. They simply have to hire a soil analyst, bring us in a copy of that report, and then we will revalue their property based on what that soil scientist has told us. We have received only one thus far from somebody that chose to do that. So this is our application is of what we have been told we need to do, which is update our information to newer soil maps.
When was that one done?
Which one? This one?
No, the person that turned in a soil sample, I'm just curious.
Last year? It was last year.
Last year,
yes.
recently.
Yes, so we have done approximately 3,000 accounts since 2019. Due to staffing, we're only going to be able to accomplish so many properties in a year. And as Department of Revenue has told us multiple times, as long as we're making progress, we are accomplishing the goal that we need to be making.
Okay, just to be clear, what you're just saying, we cannot change the value, we have to see if your method was flawed or whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
and why did you just start in 2018 or whatever, when you got this letter from Roger Hartman? When the study was done in 1994, why didn't the county start moving in that direction until now? I'm just.
I don't know the answer to that question. Obviously, as time progresses, our technologies improve significantly more. And so there's many things that we're working to update to newer information.
Nobody has warned these people at all that this was coming down, even though the study was done in 1994. And not saying that you did anything wrong, but what I'm saying here is that do you know if the state notified these people when
Again,
they do a new soil? Because
they may have.
not only these people, the petitioner, but there's gonna be, like you said, 3,000 people, that's pretty significant. And no warning, and this is a huge value jump.
Correct, and again, because they were using those old maps from the 70s, which again, when you look at it, there's no actual distinction on where the tax lot lines are, so they're gonna do it to the best of the abilities that they had at that time, whereas now they have better. But again, too, the breakdown of the land is significantly different. On the maps that I provided you, you'll see like there's H7 and H5 ground according to what that means that's good soils. If you look on this map, there is some H7 that they had previously identified, but instead of like some of the other stuff, they just called it F, and we're assuming the F means farm. But we, again, don't know because we don't know what, the F is something so old, nobody even knows what it means. But we have to assume it's farm based on what the new maps are telling us. So it's going to be, you know, again, better technology, better information, but because of, not on top of all this, we have never been given access to this property, so our record is entirely based on aerial photos. The houses are valued based on aerial photos, our land values are, and breakdowns are based on these soil maps, very just similar to everybody else, but we have not had any access to know whether or not we are good, bad, or indifferent in regards to that. But again, we treat everybody the same with regards to these, unless they provide us with some evidence from a soil scientist.
Have you tried to get access,
Yes,
verbal or communication or whatever? And
Yep.
they've denied it?
yes, many times.
I don't know if we even have jurisdiction in this, because if the method is done right, she's telling, or the assessor's telling us that we don't have jurisdiction to change the value.
It's just whether or not we applied it correctly.
Is that,
Our
is that,
our
is that a
methodology.
good summation? What
Yes,
yeah.
yes, it's, did we apply our methodology correctly? And that's our methodology, is that we increased it based on better information.
Well, I just don't like the time period from the soil, that, soil study, and
Correct.
these 3,000 counts are gonna be
Some of
starting
them-
to get
some- yes.
hammered and no communication. That's what I don't like about it, but I don't know if we
Again,
can
I
do
don't know if
anything.
in 1994 perhaps they sent something out to all the, cause like when they update the Northwest Forest Plan, they tend to do big public presentations and get those. So I don't know if in 1994 they did do that, but obviously it's been 30 years.
But as far as you know, no communication to you, I would assume they would not only communicate to the 3,000 people or accounts, they'd communicate to you.
They may have informed the assessor's office, they probably did inform Department of Revenue, since all of the value for special assessed lands is supposed to be based on the soils. So I would assume they would have let Department of Revenue know, but again, without the technology and without the staff, many assessor's offices are probably still just now working on this.
Okay. What do you think? Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I got a question though.
Sorry.
So the increase on property value is essentially $330,000, almost 200%.
Mhm.
And this is based on a soil analysis
So
that was done over 30 years ago?
So what it is we, based on this old map, we had, five different I don't know how many, I'm picking a number. Say 5 different line items of land based on this soil map, because as you can see, it's not as well detailed as what we provided. So then, using the new soil maps, as we're working our way through,
These are new soil maps?
this is
Soil
a
map?
new soil map to
Is it a
us.
soil map or a
1894.
picture?
It is, so the lines on here are they applied this map on top of an aerial photo.
See, that's a 1994.
This is the 1994, our original information is based on 1990, or 1970, 1980 map. So for us, it is new. Yes, it's old, but for us, it is new. And
There's nothing new about the analysis.
other than based on this, we have probably more classifications than we did on this. So that's where that value increases, so instead of having, cause this has significantly more of usable ground than the original map did.
Okay, so I have a question. So your method is just now getting into place.
Correct.
2018. Now, I don't see any comps for the land, so do you have a comps that would, I think that's where you were going, Bob, was that the land value, you put a value on the land, so now they jumped into a different area or whatever. Is there comps for this?
So our specially assessed land is based on tables from farm studies from 2014. Again, due to staffing, we have not redone the study And so these values have not changed since 2014. It's the classification of those land sections that has changed.
But we do not have jurisdiction really.
You don't have jurisdiction on these values at all.
No.
It is simply, this is simply for information to show you that our values haven't changed. These tables are what's existed. It's the breakdown of the classification of those based on the newer to us.
Would
land.
next year we have then jurisdiction once these are set in, or?
No,
Okay, is that okay?
because the special assessment is a special program
Okay.
that, people apply to us and tell us, and we do their special evaluation. And then the values for those are supposed to be updated through this study that we are not able to accomplish. And then and that's why you're not able to, because the value, because of it being in that special program ultimately.
Okay.
And that's why, it's just about them, you guys are only allowed to talk about the methodology because
Speaking of that, do you think this is seemingly patently unfair that the price jumped so high? I don't know how long these people have owned this land, but let's presume they purchased the land in the late nineties, early 2000s. And then all of a sudden they get hit with the study that was done back in the mid-nineties to say we can jack up your value over 200, almost 200%. I just,
again, based on the best information that we have available to us is how we have to do our job. And in the case of this, our only tool we have is these updated soil maps. If the owner would like to hire a soil scientist to revalue the soils and tell us that, this, we would gladly change that and update it. But again, we're not soil scientists. So we have no way of knowing if this is good, bad, or indifferent. As far as we know, this is the best tool we have.
Do you know
So
what,
is it unfair? Correct, but there is an option for them to be able to correct us.
do you know what a soil scientist maybe for this property, just a ballpark figure would cost?
I have no
Do you, just real quick, do you?
I had one done about 9 years ago, it was $500.
Okay,
It was $500, now it's over $1,000 to have a soil scientist come out and just look at it
well,
and do a couple of test holes. They have those little handles.
that might be a way to go, Roger, because I guess I'm at the point of making a motion because I don't think we have jurisdiction.
You do have jurisdiction according to
I
the Department of
disagree.
Revenue.
well, it's coming to us, so I guess we make a decision and then.
Yeah, but remember, it's very clear, they're using this study, and the only reason they can use this study to exceed the 3% limitation is they're trying to say that 150-308-1090, which is page 3 of your packet, says they can't. But you can't do it, and the methodology is wrong because this is not a new study. It doesn't say if the assessor doesn't have the proper personnel to do it, or it doesn't say that if it's, even though it's old, it's newer than what they have, so it's okay, it's new to them. It doesn't say that. It says a new study.
But I'm being told by the assessor that their methodology is the same, and basically, I don't feel I'm comfortable that we've got jurisdiction, and I just don't think we do.
Is there a reason why she shouldn't be using this, Roger? Or,
I don't know, let's see, what are you looking at here?
I mean,
It's the map I gave you, Roger.
it's just an overlay on GIS or whatever on.
Yeah.
I guess I'm
two
wondering why
reasons.
you didn't go to a soil scientist. I mean, $500 because of
Oh,
this.
and that used to be what it was, now it's over 1,000.
Well, even 1,000, Roger. I mean,
But
that way everybody would know. Period. I mean,
Well,
does that seem reasonable?
they already did that with one person, and they said that the study was flawed.
Well, that doesn't.
No, we didn't.
But even if it's somebody else, soils are different in different areas.
Yeah, they are.
But I guess, not having what I feel jurisdiction, can they appeal to the magistrate?
Yep, this just has to be the first step.
I mean, I don't feel.
Well, I don't like the fact when people won't let them on their property for them
Well,
to do their job.
that's-
And she's using the best information she has, and if they don't like it, they can let them on
But-
their
But
property.
she's using
If they
this,
don't have the
Oregon
requirement to do that,
administrative
you
rule.
can't use that against them.
But going on their property, you know, we're not talking of the structure, we're talking of the land. What are they
soil.
gonna say? Are they gonna do a soil scientist? I mean, are themselves? No, they're just gonna see, okay, yeah, that looks good, but
I mean,
that
if there's
soil,
trees growing everywhere, then, I mean,
well,
probably the highest and best use, and they go with it, but they can't even get on there to see it.
I mean, the
The
actual.
evidence needs to come from the petitioner, and they're not letting them do their job to show it.
Well, I guess that could be, but the fact, I would love to know what that soil says. Nobody's
Yeah.
done that.
Well, she's using the best stuff that they have. I mean, there's nothing else she can do.
Yeah, I'm ready to make a motion that we don't have a jurisdiction.
I'm just,
I'll motion that we go with petitioner's request to keep the land value to 290,954 and the building's request.
Approved,
We have to have a second.
or second, I'm not seconding it.
I don't like that personally. I mean, that's really not what.
To me, it's all or nothing, because trying to say that the land should be less, I mean, this kind of summates it, I mean,
It's
to
not
me.
saying the land should be less, it's saying the land value should remain the same.
Why?
Well, the soil analysis, I mean, they pointed out that there's nothing new. This was from a study done in the 90s, and maybe they have just come across the technology that allows them to do this, but
Well, I mean,
still, to use this 30-year-old study to jack up the rates over $300,000, $330,000 seems pretty excessive to me.
in 1977 or whenever it was done, they had to use that, and that probably was down the same path that we're following here.
I mean, it's almost like the property's getting rezoned, you know?
Yeah.
It was residential and now it's prime commercial, and
Exactly, cause it has,
And it's not
It
like the
hasn't been
property owner is
rezoned.
using the land for anything different than it's been used for decades.
But,
May I say something?
sure,
So you guys are talking about the real market value. Remember, the real market value is kind of a moot point because it's really all about that assessed value. And the real market value is going to fluctuate more significantly. So that $300,000 increase is in the real market value. What the value thereafter is that specially assessed value, which is line 32. Again, you guys can't touch that number. But if you look at that, that increase is only about $40,000. So again, the real market value is based on that soil classification, but the real market value is going to be based on the value.
out of our control.
So, and it's, but yeah, the values are out of your control, but I'm just ultimately, since that's what you were kind of asking about, Bob,
okay,
was really the value increase is only about 40,000.
okay, I think we've bannered this enough, let's just,
Well, that was on his request, though.
Yes, I know. I'm just letting you know.
we need to make a decision.
I gave you all a motion. You didn't
Okay.
like my motion.
Well, it
so
didn't-
You got a motion something different.
I'm motioning that we don't have jurisdiction on this. If they wanna kick it to the magistrate or,
They have both indicated we have to decide something.
well, I say leave it alone,
So then you would just sustain.
sustain. Any second? Okay. Craig, you have a motion?
May I say something?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the best way to, I mean, lack of jurisdiction is not gonna really do us anything, but.
May I
Steve?
say something?
Yeah, stand up.
The taxpayer didn't do anything. Her grandfather bought this in like 1930s. You have that map. There's nothing in here farming. That study is flawed that they're using. And to put the onerous onto the taxpayer, who's already been hit with additional taxes, to also have to hire a soil scientist to prove that nothing they had anything to do with, but who knows their land more than the ranchers or the farmers? And this is never gonna be farmland, and so rather than putting the burden of proof on the taxpayer, put it on the assessor to prove that she's right in doing this, and this study is not being applied uniformly like the old reappraisal cycle. It's selected people, and how they select them, I do not know.
Steve, I have a problem. Basically, it's the petitioner has to support it with evidence, and a preponderance of evidence has to go with the petitioner. And as far as I'm concerned, what I'm hearing is, because the study, whether you like it or not, that's what they had to go by. And I don't know how I can say it any different.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why. I guess I would have liked to have seen a soil, and you would have had a slam dunk if you're right. But we don't have that. And they have to follow a rule, and we have to follow the preponderance of evidence, and
Right.
that's all I'm saying.
But who started this whole thing?
Who started it?
Yes, who initiated the increase? Who initiated using this
Because
study?
of what they are coming up to. I don't like the time difference either, Steve. 1994 to now, that was my point to begin with. There's 3,000 accounts in this thing. And what you see is these people are all gonna get it. You're probably gonna get more business down the road, for whatever. Because they're gonna be surprised by this, but the assessor, for whatever reason, nothing that they've done wrong, they've started doing this. And I have to live by that unless you provide me with something. Would it have been said nice to have a soil scientist say, hey, this is the same as it's been for years? And then that supersedes, that would have been evidence that I could have lived with.
Okay.
Any motion?
Well, I think, well, if you look at, go on Heather's, well, Roger has it too, but I think we just need to figure out if we're gonna consider this overlay GIS thing as a new published government agency soil survey. And really, it's not, the GIS thing isn't a soil survey, I don't think. All they're doing is getting better maps and technology where.
So what does that
Right.
put it, Craig? 'Cause, I mean, are you saying that we don't have jurisdiction, I guess is,
No, apparently we do, they checked.
do we?
I mean, the numbers don't really mean anything, it just matters if we're gonna. I think it's a verbiage thing, personally. I mean, is this a new soil survey with better technology where they can get the classes better than a 1970s thing out of a Rolodex?
Well,
It's a new illustration, new technology.
Yeah, but it's not really a new, I don't know, I'm going back and forth on the
Well,
whole thing.
in the way I look, I guess I just have an objection, or a objective view of it. You have a 1977, you got a 1994, and now the assessors finally catching up with staffing or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're enforcing what was done in 1994. And I mean, that's what I'm going by. Now, maybe I'm wrong, so, but we have to make some sort of a decision. And my motion, I'm still with that motion of sustaining.
My motion's the opposite.
So it's up to you, Craig. One way or the other.
I don't know, this verbiage about the new soil survey, and this technically isn't a new soil survey in my opinion. I guess is kind of where I'm leaning. I mean, all it is, it's better technology, but it's not actually a soil survey, and that's from their verbiage.
I like everyone to know, I don't like it any more than
Well, I don't
anybody.
either. I mean,
but-
it's completely new to us, but
But to me, I have to go with what I've given an oath to, and that's a preponderance of evidence. And it would have been, I think, a slam dunk if we had a soil science study on that problem. Can they come back next year and do that?
They're welcome to come back every year.
Hmm?
Yes, they can come back any year. Obviously, it would be, if there was a change next year, obviously.
Can you change
So-
it back next year
Uh,
if they second Bob's motion?
so ultimately, unless we have evidence that tells us that contradicts the information that we have available to us, we can't really change it. Cause again, otherwise we're not being uniform and consistent in our application,
You have to use the method that you're,
which is that 1994 soil survey. That way we're being consistent, unless somebody does something above and beyond what is normal, which is that soil scientist. So, but everybody gets that option of getting that soil scientist, so.
it's up to you, Craig. You've got two motions.
Honestly, it's because they won't let him on the property, but I'm gonna go with the assessor's recommendation and no change. Or
Okay,
to go with the most recent data available to them.
what's the wording?
Second?
Is there a second? I second your motion, Craig. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, it's sustained.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, we have petitioner 16 is here, is present, next one.
16.
This one's really easy, we're just gonna sign a stipulation, he just wanted to wait to sign it till, so that way it would be adjudicated. So if you would like to come up.
Who is it, me?
No, nope, it's, it
Oh.
looks like it's Matthew. It's Matthew, if you just wanna come sign this real quick,
Yeah,
and then I will sign it, and then we're done with that one, nice and easy.
where do I sign?
Just,
So this one's
let's see,
stipulated?
sign your name and then, write your
Okay,
name, then sign.
gotcha.
Thanks for coming in.
I would have gotten, I didn't even realize, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Which
That's easy.
petition?
Put today's date,
16.
which is 24.
That's, yeah, petition 16,
16.
that's our 10 o'clock.
Matthew Shank,
Yes.
Do we state in the record then for that?
As soon as this is over,
Okay.
I will sign, we'll send you a final signed copy.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Is there anything else?
nope, that's all we need from you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
So yes,
And you want something stated that we stipulated that, or? do
yes, so yeah, we did this because they wanted to make sure that the value got adjudicated for the
Say it
5
on,
years.
okay. What is it? Petitioner number 16 has been stipulated between the assessor and the petitioner. Okay.
Okay,
Move
our
on.
next one is petition number 17, Coon Hollow Properties.
How we doing today?
Great, anyone coming in?
Welcome.
Okay, I wanted to start with, Mike Folino, Folino, Coon Hollow. And we're gonna go with, 2000, can I go back to 23 here for a second? Property was worth, land was worth $0. I paid $3,500 for it, and we got it back to $3,500. I was paying $4,400. All of a sudden, we jumped up to $136,000. Okay, and then I seen this lady, she asked me, did I do anything new? I said, yeah, I put a new roof on. That was back in 2023. So I let it go. I didn't say nothing because I put a new roof on it. I thought, boy, that's good. Okay, then we come back to this new one here. So I sided it, I painted it, and all of a sudden it goes up to $894. I'm going, well, that's a little much. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how she figured it. Land still was worth nothing. Now all of a sudden it's worth $53,000. Well, how the hell does that happen? I mean, it don't just go up in value, does it? It does? How? Oh, I'll let it go. I didn't put no electricity on it, no sewer.
wait, what is this? What, are we talking about a structure?
I think it's a shed. She thinks it's a house. I don't know.
How
You
big's the
know.
shed?
What?
How big?
It's 570 feet. She's got down at it's 6 something. I don't know. Did you measure it? I don't know nothing anymore. I'm just gone.
570 square feet?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Do you have any pictures with?
I don't have nothing. She must have everything. She's gotta have a lot of things to show that it went up in value by $700 or something. I got 0.8 acres, supposed to do 18,000 a year. All I did was put on some sheeting and painted it, and all of a sudden it went up, $700. Okay, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Well, roof, I mean,
I put a roof on the year before. That wasn't, that's 500 square feet. That's what, so that's $5,000 at the most. I sheeted it myself. What did that take? $300-400 maybe. I think I paid more for the paint than I did for the sheeting. So I'll sit right here and listen to what she has.
so we have a 1/4 acre of land
Quarter acre of land,
with essentially a shed.
a shed,
A
no
500
electricity, no water,
570 square foot shed, no plumbing,
no nothing.
no electricity.
No, my neighbor took it all. We were hooked up together, they cut it, she took all the electricity, everything.
Oh, well, took out the electricity.
Took out the electricity, took everything out, everything's gone.
So what exactly, is it a structure, a small little house?
It
or
was a house, it was a shed, and then
You converted it to a
I
living?
didn't do anything, it's nothing inside,
Nothing?
nothing.
Nothing at all? Nobody's living there?
Nobody's living there.
Okay, and it's just that
It's a shed, I
structure.
got a bunch of stuff inside
What's the
there.
land like?
Shit. Well, hey, I paid $3,500 for it.
Is it on a hillside? Is it
No,
level?
no, it's
Is it-
flat, it's flat.
Is it by the river?
It's in a flood zone, how's that?
Flood?
Flood, yeah,
It's in a
worth
flood zone.
nothing. Pardon me?
It's in a flood zone.
It's in a flood zone.
Is it in the plain though? I mean, has it flooded there?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay, so you're in the floodplain, okay. Not the floodway.
I'll
Okay.
let her come up here.
What is the water then that's nearby?
What do you mean?
What, it's in
You
a
gotta
flood zone.
drill a well. The guy next door had a well and he took it, and he
You're
took
just
the
like
electricity, he took it.
southeast of, are you like Round Prairie or by the
I'm
Knife
on
River?
99.
Yeah, are you like by the Knife Rivers Rock?
Yeah, we're right down the road.
Okay, and no water, no electricity, no sewer, no plumbing, nothing, zero.
Right on, sir.
Okay.
I'll let her explain
So is the
hers.
inside just basically,
Wood,
but I mean, no,
nothing, no drywall, no nothing.
but electricity is at
Dang
the
it.
property line where you could hook up?
I could,
And you'd have to drill a well, not,
correct.
and the sewer, you'd have to.
No
put-
sewer,
But you'd have to put in a,
have to put in everything.
is it, how do you say it? Is it approved for sewer? Like, do you have?
Probably not. I
No,
wouldn't
no,
say
no.
so. I would not say so.
Okay.
My neighbor's trying to get sewer right now and she's having a hard time.
Okay, but as far as you know, there's no permit for a sewer,
No, nothing,
septic tank or anything?
nothing. Probably
no-
won't even give me one because it's so
And no
small.
sewer line going there where you?
No, there ain't no sewer line. You gotta
Okay,
put a
got it,
septic in there. I'll
got
let
it,
her go.
okay.
Alright, the back page is some pictures of the property, before and current.
Oh, yeah, I took 100 square feet off of the property. That's probably where she's got her extra 100 square feet.
Before you start, just one quick question. You don't have any comparables, sir, do you? Sir? I mean, any comparables that,
No, I figured we'd go by the tax roll that I have.
okay,
Go by the tax roll that I had, that it was worth nothing because there was nothing on the property, on the
okay.
land.
But you know of no other property similar to this at this point?
Not that small, no.
Okay, okay, thanks. Okay, I'm sorry.
So, as you can see, we have a before and after picture of the improvements. As well as I have I have 3 comparables for you, properties,
Wait, when's the before? When was this?
this would be the before of whatever the last time we were at the property.
Frankly, the before looks better than the after. Would you agree with that?
No, I totally disagree with you, but that's,
Totally.
that's,
I didn't even get that one.
yeah, it's the second page. So the second picture is in the shadows, as you can tell, but yes, so we have it as a 600 square foot. We do recognize it as a residence. It is only 54% complete because it was at studs at the time that we saw it. The reason that there's a increase in the land is, previously we didn't recognize it as a home site. We are recognizing it as a fair home site, but we are recognizing that it does not have the utilities and there is a size adjustment due to the size of it, cause it's not standard for that neighborhood. Our completed recommended value is the $130,000, but the as-is value is the $97,459 for the 600 square foot, 54% complete residence.
And these are comparable.
Yep, 3 comparable houses in Dillard, Winston, and Green. Smaller homes on comparable size lots. Showing what the value is as complete. Again, remember the subject property is not complete, so therefore we are giving you a complete value and removing the percentage for it being an incomplete home.
So you knock off, what, 30,000, 33,000 for the fact that it has no utilities or anything?
We know that we do have an adjustment on the home site. The home site we have at whatever it is on the 44,000. So we have a 40% adjustment for the utilities, we have a percentage adjustment for the size of the lot. And we have it as a fair home site because it's not a typical, so it's less than, it's a fair home site. So we do have a reduced value on the land. We are recognizing it as a home site without those.
But you say reduce from the 97,459?
No, the 97,459 is our total real market value for the property. So it's the land and the improvements, with the improvements only being 54% complete.
I see.
So we would have a total of what, 50,000, I think we'd have approximately $50,000 on the improvements.
53,150. Improvement.
So yes, so our total value right now is the recommended value. We're asking for you to sustain the assessor's value. So we have 53,000 on the land and 44,000 on the, 44,000 on the land, 53,000 on the improvements.
How did you go from 15,980 last year on the land and 0 on the structure to this? What was the reason?
So as you see, the structure was significantly remodeled. And it is a residence, so we are now, because as you can tell previously, it kind of looks just like a.
It went from a shed to a house, kinda like the church went to a house.
Yes, so we have to recognize the land as being just a lot, whereas now it is a residence, but we are adjusting it for the lack of the utilities.
So this is a link to.
But there was something there, it says year built 2000. So what was there?
So it's not really the year built. That is it says effective year built, so that's a depreciated effective year, so.
Okay, but what was in there before last year? Anything at all?
Yes, this was what was there,
Before or after, what?
yes.
This was,
This picture was the last time that we were at the property, this
Which
is what we
was?
saw.
which was,
I don't know,
what was it before the tax year, the January 1?
correct.
So
Yes,
that's,
this picture could be anywhere between 30 years old and 2023,
and you never put a value on that structure.
correct, because
Cause it's a shed.
pretty much,
Well, I mean, it's a
it wouldn't have had value in the market.
But how did it go from 0 to after? I mean, there's a building there, I mean, I understand that it's a shed, whatever, to me, it looks like a small house, it's got windows, I mean,
Correct.
but you're calling it a shed, that's fine.
Yes.
But you had 0 on that,
Yes.
and now you jump up because he did some improvement
Correct,
of 53,000?
Yeah.
correct.
How does
I'm having a hard time of a leap of faith why there wasn't anything put on it. I mean, obviously that costs something for the,
Correct. And I don't know, cause I don't know why they chose previously not to have any value on it, but now we have value.
It
I mean,
just seems
we
odd.
should have had something on it, because obviously there was something there, we should have at least had something, so that way he at least had a placeholder
Anyway,
value,
it
but
just
yes.
seems odd, I mean, there's
did
some
not have value.
value in that, I mean, even if it was used as a storeroom.
But again, too, you know, there was moss on the roof, you know, the windows are not spectacular, you know, various
Okay.
different, who,
Okay.
you know, who knows if there was black mold or anything else like that, you know, I obviously, not having been to the property, prior to the remodel, I
Why-
wouldn't know.
Okay, let me ask a question, so he did the roof, siding and paint.
Mhm.
Just a quick question for him, what did that cost you, just real quick?
I think I got about 10 grand in it.
Okay,
I mean, I don't have nothing else.
okay, 10 grand, and the year before you valued it at 0. Why wouldn't, he's saying 10 grand, even though he did the labor, I mean, if you look at the market value of that, it has to be more, even though you saved some money by
I
doing it.
understand, I
So maybe,
understand.
let's just say it's 15,000, but just using it, why wouldn't that be more appropriate if you valued nothing on the building? And he did some improvements, and now all of a sudden it's 53,000, yet those improvements cost 15 in a year's time, he did it just recently.
And she's got
Why-
plumbing in there. She got, you know, this is, I got house, I got plumbing. It don't even make sense to me. You get what I'm saying? None of this is true. I
And
could
the
just,
electricity was cut off.
there ain't nothing, yeah, there's nothing in there.
So, okay, thank you.
Okay.
So, do you have an answer for that, or
Yeah,
Hold
choke
on,
me.
just one moment.
does that seem reasonable, I mean, to you, I mean,
No,
there's zero
Okay,
value and then.
So
it
the
gets
value, the reason their value is 0 is because in 2013, the BOPTA board decided the house had no value.
Okay,
That's why there was no value and we didn't value even though something existed.
that's good,
There you go.
okay,
And with regards to cost does not equate to value.
it's what?
Cost does not equate to value. So even if it only cost me $500 to put something in, we are required to reflect what the market tells us that value is. If the market tells us, which is why we have these comparables, tells us that this is what it's worth, he may have only spent 15, but the market is telling us it is a different number.
Do these comparables have plumbing, electricity?
No.
Correct. So remember, I told you that our value is, these comparables are as complete. I'm giving you our value as if it was complete and then removing taking it down to 54%
Okay,
incomplete,
Got
which
it.
is the 97,000.
now, what would you value a new roof on this side and the siding and the paint? What would you put a value on? You're an assessor, so you probably have some idea what it would cost to put a new roof on a small little shed like this.
Again, cost does not equate to value.
Well, but also what's decreased in here is no plumbing, no septic.
Correct.
And I know you did some adjustment over the overall, yet
Correct.
we valued it at 0 the year or two before that.
10 years prior.
10 years.
2013 is when the
Okay,
BOPTA
13,
board took it down
okay.
to 0.
But there's been nothing done since then.
Correct, not until this
So
last
I'm
year.
assuming that value, let's just go forward and say we still would value that. We valued it 213, why wouldn't we value it 0 at this point until he did the improvements?
So again, we have to reflect what was on the property as of January 1st of each year.
Right.
And we regularly value incomplete structures. Because again, we're always a year behind anyways, but yes, we do value incomplete structures all the time.
Okay,
Because they do have some kind of value in the market, as we've seen, cause you see those Joe Rusty houses, you know, they have been sitting vacant for a whole bunch of time. You know, the bank bought them for an X number of
Okay.
dollars kind of thing.
got it. Anybody wanna make a motion?
I'll motion to, on petition number 17 to keep the land at the 44,309 and put $15,000 or $25 a foot on the structures for a total RMV of 59,309.
Can I get up here?
Yes,
Property with no electricity or nothing is worth that much? A third of an acre?
Yeah. I mean, there was,
I'm just, hey,
you know, 8 acres on Baker just went for like.
well, I just bought the one next door, I got 4.5 acres, I'm paying, it's worth 54,000. And now you're trying to tell me my third of an acre's worth the same. Now
Well,
that
you don't-
doesn't make sense.
Well, you don't have your sales or any data here, I didn't know that.
Well, I'm just telling you, why would I lie to you? You can ask her to go look it up. I'm just telling you, I bought the one next door, 4.5 acres, 4.26 or whatever, for less than 100,000.
Okay, well, the evidence is here for you to
Well,
submit.
I'm just telling you, I mean, I can bring it to the next board if that's what we're gonna go by.
Yeah, if you want, we didn't even know what it looked like or what it was
Well, I'm
until
telling
she.
you, yeah, right here, you got it. I
Well,
knew
yeah.
she was gonna bring it in. I knew she's gonna bring all this stuff in.
You have the burden of proof, she doesn't actually.
Well, I got it right here. My tax bill was worth nothing, and now all of a sudden it's worth, 15 grand. It shouldn't have been worth 15 grand.
Question for the assessor, do you, from what he's saying, do you know of any of that sale that he's talking about? You wouldn't, did that just happen?
What, my sale next door? Yes, yes, sir. Yes, I just bought it. This last year.
Last year?
This last year, yeah.
What time last year? I'm just curious.
I'm not even sure.
I mean, first
I'm not
part-
sure
first
about
part-
nothing. I just bought it though. I just bought it
Okay,
within a year.
okay.
I could bring you all the proof you want.
Oh, that would be very beneficial.
Well, yeah, I would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I didn't think we were gonna go into that.
Oh, that's what we're here to do.
Well, I understand, but you're not supposed to bring your property next door in. That's what I read in there. And then
We want
you could put
comparable sales.
$18,000 a year on without getting the rates going up. Right? Am I right there on proposition or measure 15, because it's not a proposition. I found that out.
Measure 50 is there to limit,
Limit,
yeah.
Yeah.
On what can go up, unless you make.
there you go.
Unless you make.
As soon as you make an
There's ongoing repair
improvement,
and
that changes
maintenance.
things.
There's ongoing repair and
Well, no,
maintenance.
you could put, this is a minor improvement, right? I've been listening.
Yeah,
I've been listening.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. She's even laughing, cause she knows it's true.
Would you sell that piece of dirt?
Which one?
This one?
Well, they've been trying to buy it. I bought it for my grandkids, okay? Not me, my grandkids.
Well, that's great. That's
Well,
very
I
nice
know,
of you.
but you guys are trying to stick everybody and you wonder why everybody's moving out of the country.
We're here for you.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're-
I can
we're
tell.
trying to stick
I can
anybody.
tell. You guys do whatever you want. That's why I came in.
Okay. One thing she said though, that Heather said was that the land value, because of the improvements to the shed, they changed how they viewed it as a home property. But it's not a home property, right?
No.
So it should be, I don't know, is 44,000 too much for that land?
I don't think so.
If it's just a if it's just a shed, a quarter acre?
We don't have any land sales to support it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess what I look at is we valued the whole thing at zero.
Well, probably because
Well, I
back
mean,
then, if you were actually gonna put a house on it, you probably had to tear it down to get a home site.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, yeah, and
The
I'm
structure
kind of
was
along
valued
with
at
you,
zero.
Craig, on it, but we valued zero because it wasn't worth anything. Then he goes and does a roof, a siding and a paint. And I think you could come at a value of that, but we still put zero on that thing, so I don't know, I'm just guessing here, he says 10,000, well, you gotta look at the market value, I mean, somebody doing the labor, let's just say it's 15 for I don't think 44,000 is gonna be, to me, fair on the, 53,000, what is it, 53,150. I think that's too high.
I just went with $25 a foot, by 600,
But
that's
it's-
15 grand.
I know, but you're looking at plumbing, electricity, you're looking at a structure, that's what the assessor is appraising it, and it's not. I mean, I guess I have a problem with 97,459. And the land, we said zero, and yeah,
No,
he
the
did.
structure.
No, we never said zero on the land, just the
We said
structure.
0 on the structure.
Oh, did
It's
we?
15,980.
Yeah, 15,980.
Was last year's value.
Why would you change that? And that was up to last year or the year before. Why would you change that when there's no electricity, no nothing, and he did some improvements, why can't we say, okay, the value of the improvements is here and the land hasn't changed? I mean, even though,
So something to think about. You buy raw land. And then if you decide to do something to that land, you typically do site improvements to that land to make it usable.
I understand.
So, just like the home, we are going to reflect a home site and remove what doesn't exist. So we have a home site and we removed, for the lack of utilities, we made it not a typical average home site, so therefore we have it as a fair home site. And then we also have an adjustment because it is smaller than what is typical for that neighborhood. So we still need to recognize that it is improved, it is not raw dirt. That 15,000 is raw dirt. It's not raw dirt because it does now, because it have a structure of value, it is not raw dirt, so it is a home site with adjustments for it.
I guess it could be a home, what I'm getting at is could be a home site. Right now, I don't consider that a home site.
And that's, I just wanna make sure you realize
Right.
that we have raw dirt versus.
But I do believe he put value in that, but we valued 15,980 last year for the land and nothing for the other. I believe that we should have something on the structure, but I don't see, I mean, no plumbing, no electricity, no septic, nothing. And so it's not really livable at this point on a long-term basis, so to me, there should be something for what he did. And we can figure out that end of it, but as far as the land goes, I'm not real comfortable putting it up to 44,309. Sure, I mean, discussion?
Well, do you wanna keep the land alone at the 15,980 and do 15 on the structure?
What has really changed, Craig, other than he did 3 improvements that really doesn't make it any more livable than what it is? It's nice to have a roof, but are you gonna live in there with no plumbing, no electricity, nothing? So what did he do to improve the land?
I'm good with 15K for the structure. The land seems a little high.
He does. It seems very high compared to.
Maybe from 15,980, 20, 25, what do you think?
I could go with 20 on the land and 15 on the improvement, and so a total of.
Okay, I'll motion that we set land value at 20,000 and the building value at 15,000, structure value at 15,000.
I second that. Alright. Again, I keep forgetting, all
in favor?
all in favor? There we
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
unanimous.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, so now I guess we go back to the ones that we skipped that they didn't show up.
Back to the front.
Yes. They should be quick because we're just hearing one side.
are we unscheduled at all? Are we, okay,
I sent out the notices 2 weeks ago,
Certified mail.
certified mail.
okay.
Did you send them a text today to remind them?
Maybe so.
So,
I did what I was supposed to do.
So
My daughter's a
number one,
beautician and she does it with her texts, sends it out.
well, if
2
they're
days
not here,
before,
we
then 1
just
hour
sustain it,
before.
don't we? I mean, isn't that?
No, we hear
Oh,
Heather's
do we
side.
hear? Okay, alright.
My recommendation on this one is no change, so.
Oh, okay.
But here's some comparables for you nonetheless.
This is for one,
So this is for number one, this is a manufactured home in a mobile home park over in Reedsport, oh, sorry. And as you may be aware,
What verse is this?
number one,
oh, back to the front.
Yeah, back to the front.
our recommendation is to just sustain the existing value of $161,000 on the mobile home. It is a triple wide, again, in a park. There is very limited low-income housing throughout Douglas County, so our manufactured home values have increased significantly. Our used to be $5,000 mobile homes are now selling for $90,000 or $100,000. So the sales that I have there's only 3 sales for you, all of them are within the same park. But please note that they all are only double wides, whereas the subject is a triple wide.
Have you had any conversation with them at all, other than this petition, or?
Yes, this person reached out to us during our owner value review, and they did not like our answers, so we sent them, let them know that they could appeal here, so that's what
But
they've
there's
done.
no communication after that, just other than they
Nope.
didn't show up, okay.
So
Well-
you are asking that the value, which is listed at 186,825 be dropped to 161?
Yep, just a little bit, yep,
Where do I see that?
and that's just based on the comparables.
Where do I see? Oh. okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's kind of went, is that depreciation more or less?
It's just, again, so when we value our properties, we use our ratio report and we do mass appraisal, so we just, we look at, in this case, manufactured homes in parks that are over at the coast, and it tells us that our value is X% low, so then we apply a trend to bring those values up. So it's just done in mass, and then of course, once they go to BOPTA or magistrate or everything else, we then take it out of that mass appraisal and do it on an individual basis. So then we took this property and we looked at these 3 comparables and said, okay, our value is a little bit high, we recommend $161,000.
Okay. Okay, I make a motion that we agree with the assessor and sustain.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So does that mean we're lowering it to 161,304?
Yeah,
Yes,
161,304.
And then the next one is petition 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all the same petitioner.
When are they scheduled? Are we?
They were scheduled at 9:15
Oh, okay, okay.
and he didn't show up.
So due to the way this property is situated, we have to value it as a single unit.
And for clarity, we're on petition 11.
11, 12, 13, and 14. So 11 and 12 are in and outside the fire district, 13 and 14 are in and outside the fire district. But as you can see on the aerial photo, without one property, the other property would have no access. So therefore, it is in our mind, a single unit of value. So our comparables reflect that.
Just a quick question for my note, if they made a driveway out here to one of these roads, then it would become separate? I'm just,
It possibly, yes.
okay.
Pretty steep in there though.
Yeah, it is, cause this is that stuff that when you're driving north on I-5, it's that hillside all on, right when you get to Curtin, it's all that hillside right behind. So if in order for them to do a driveway, it'd probably be pretty dang steep,
Okay.
so. And I'm pretty sure that our recommended value is the culmination of sustaining the assessor value.
Well, any questions?
So 13, there is no structure.
No, just land. So is 14.
So really in the scheme of things, it's it's really not gonna affect his taxes either way.
Cause yeah, all the assessed values are below.
Motion to go with the assessor's recommendation on number petition 11, 12, 13, 14.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we're keeping the values.
Sustained, yep.
Okay, our next petitioner apparently did not show up either.
This is 719.
Which one?
Yes, no, 22.
22.
He was 11 to 11:15.
Oh, it's cause he's that was the stipulation I sent you on Friday.
Yeah, there is no 22.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Okay,
22 is stipulated on Friday.
so
Seventeen?
We just we did 17, that was the last gentleman that was.
19.
nineteen was stipulated.
Oh, wasn't it?
Oh, that's not the one you said.
No,
Hey, Fred, can we
22
take a
was
quick
stipulated.
22, okay,
What's that?
sorry.
Can we take a quick break?
Quick
No.
break.
Yes,
We are gonna take a
What time
quick
are
break.
we on? Are we,
11:05.
we are on number 19 is 11:15 to 11:30, so
so we're
Oh, we're right on.
we're ahead.
Okay. We'll be back then at 11:15.
Go staple, I mean, go.
Nope, not me, but it
Is there a
Never
time
have
for the
too many.
restroom?
open the session.
Well, we still have a couple more minutes
Oh, do
until
we?
he's,
I was just
until he's,
going by now.
That's 11:13 officially,
yes,
Oh, is it? Okay.
yeah. That one's a couple minutes back.
if cell phones are official, I don't know. Seem to be.
Well, I think they're more accurate.
So we're expecting to do this before lunch, complete?
That one's scheduled for 12.
That would be that last one that we're in executive.
We're in an executive for that one, yes. We're in executive for two, but one is just a late penalty, late filing penalty.
How many have we got then?
This one's got a letter attached to it, so that's.
What do we got left? How many?
We have petition 19, petition 27, then 2 and 3 are you're gonna dismiss
Okay,
because they were withdrawn.
okay,
And then we have 4 and 18.
okay.
So we have 4 left still.
To listen to, okay.
But 19 isn't coming in, so that's gonna be a quick one also.
Is that what the next one we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently I didn't pay attention to that because I wouldn't have scheduled them for 15 minutes.
Was that the one you said stipulated?
No,
Oh.
that was.
You don't have the one for that's stipulated 22 because that's why you don't have it, cause they stipulated
okay.
prior.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
pulled it out of the book.
Yeah.
That was brought to me Friday
Are you ready for 19?
or Thursday, I guess.
Session is open. Thank you.
So the assessor is recommending a reduction to $560,000 for this home.
560 you said?
$560,000, yep. Again, this is just simply because after taking out a mass appraisal and putting it into this, we felt that $560,000 was a more reflective of what the real market value should be.
And I'm sorry, this was which one?
Number 9,
Nine,
Yes.
19, okay, I'm there. Okay, make a motion to sustain the assessor's value.
or are you gonna take my recommendation? Cause
Or-
we are recommending a reduction,
Reduction, okay,
To 560 total,
correct?
from 681 to 560.
okay.
Is that on the paperwork here?
It's that's on our comp here.
The 560 is not in the paperwork, I don't know.
Yeah, the 560 is on there, yes. Do I do the breakdown? No, I don't do the breakdown.
I guess I should ask first, is there any questions?
Okay, well, officially, I'll motion that we accept the assessor's change to $560,000 total RMV.
And I second that. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Yes, as it would be so just for the record, so we have a land and improvement value. We would have leave the land value as unchanged at $131,813. With $428,187 on the improvements.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
And now our next one isn't due till 11:30, and I believe she is gonna be here. I mean, she was,
Is that 27?
yes.
20.
I did not receive this petition until January 4th. And she said she took it to the post office on the 31st. And the post office was closed. The post office did close early that day.
Has to be postmarked.
Yes. Has to be postmarked. She took it there and couldn't get it postmarked because the post office closed.
Right.
So she's supposed to bring proof to that fact.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have to dismiss it because it was late filed. she's not supposed to be here till 11:30, so.
Okay. The next day, the post office was open was 1-2. Okay, and that's what got the postmark.
Yeah, because they're closed on New Year's Day.
I'm just trying to remember when that, what was that like a, let's see, 31st was,
I think
December 31st was
I think it was a Tuesday, I just
Tuesday.
looked. Yeah,
Yeah, because New Year's Day was on Wednesday, yes.
Okay, so that would have been, okay.
New Year's Eve, both our office and post office were open half day.
What's that?
No, New Year's Eve, we were open all day. It was Christmas Eve that we were,
Okay,
we opened late.
yeah, we had to be open all day because PVAB, I'm sorry. I can't get used to it calling it PVAB.
so it was a Tuesday, 12:31. Wasn't the post office open that day?
It was, but only till noon.
Oh, okay, they closed early.
You did verify that?
I know our post office was only open till noon.
Oh, it was, that's what I
Yes.
was trying to find.
We didn't look at other post offices, but I'm assuming because ours was closed at noon, that the others were closed at noon
Makes sense.
also.
Okay,
Dan did verify that our post office closed at noon on the 31st.
How would the
Not
post
reasonable.
office close early?
you can't do that.
Right?
For something as important as the mail, yeah. Whatever happened, we'll deliver the mail no matter what, rain, sleet, hail.
Are we allowed to,
This is saying normal hours. Most of them.
when you say ours, so that would have been the Roseburg,
Yes, the Roseburg post office.
so maybe the outlying branches were open? I don't know.
Well, downtown Umpqua, they close early no matter what. Every day.
I thought you could go in there at midnight.
No.
You can't?
Well, you go in there and get your PO box, but
And put a letter in, but
the office,
down and I always go to sleep in there.
the office closes at 1 o'clock, I believe.
It's 11 to 14.
I'm not finding anything about it. So we need a motion to withdraw petitions 2 and 3.
Yes,
I motion to withdraw petition number 2 and 3.
Second,
all approve, say aye.
aye.
Is that the ones that we're,
Yeah, that's the two.
we're getting those done
Right here.
Yeah, cause we're gonna be looking at 27 for.
Yeah, the other two.
Okay.
Motions to.
Say motion carried 2 and 3. That we withdraw.
the late filing guy coming for number 4?
They were gonna try and make it, yes.
So we've taken care of all the ones to be withdrawn or whatever, the rest of them could theoretically be coming then, as far as we know.
As far as I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, okay.
Until the next one.
So these meetings in general are public?
Yes, until we're in executive session. And then public has to leave. Press can stay, but they can't report on anything. And then it has to be opened back up for the ruling.
On those executive ones?
Yes. This one.
Where you live on Hubbard Creek, has there been a lot of mudslides because of the Titan fire?
Yeah, from the creeks. In fact, my CenturyLink was out for 3 weeks because of one of the flooding creeks. And they didn't have a phone pole there. I don't know why that was a problem, but they had a line in there somehow. It took them 3 weeks to fix it,
Ground shifted.
I guess. And they still sent me a bill for the full amount. Can you believe that? $100 for landline. I'm thinking, why do I have this landline?
On my side, IE, we have the DFN. You guys don't have DFN?
Yeah. Yeah, we do have well, for the Wi-Fi, yes. Some people have it for their landlines too, but that didn't make any sense to me. Why would your cell, it does the same thing as your cell phone. Because if the power goes out, then your landline, if you have DFN, doesn't work. So the CenturyLink at least works if I hook up a different phone to it, not a portable phone, but a dial phone.
Yeah, it's powered by the phone line.
Yeah, but now the generator, all I gotta do is just hook the DFN to the generator, cell phone works again.
I have a pair of generators that keep the second one to power the pump in the river. Like, in case the fire burns up the power line down, I can still try to pump on water, close down my house.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah. Yeah, when the fires were out there a couple of years ago, the crews brought out these gas-powered pumps. Put them right by the creek, 2 of them with gas, gallons of gas, just in case the power went out. Boy, they did the super job of protecting us.
That was easy.
They had a fire truck at every person's house.
They were dipping the baby bucket in the river right next to the house. That's good water.
That's fun to watch.
Yeah, they did it at Scott Mannion's, which, he has an old logging site or a mill site. So he's got a big old pond. They were dumping water or taking water out of his pond.
Those new fire maps, I think they take that into consideration if you have a pond on your property, you have a lower fire risk.
It's a good idea.
11 years that I've lived there, I've cut down 29 evergreens. Back the fire danger away from my house.
Mhm.
When I moved into that property, it looked like I was driving into a national park.
Yeah.
The trees were so thick on there around the house.
Yeah, we've been canceled by 3 insurance companies
Really,
because of the fire danger. They want us to cut every tree within 100 feet of the house. Well, we live on the creek. And Fish and Wildlife says they want trees on the creek, you know, to keep it from warming up.
the riparian zone, right?
So one insurance company said, okay, we'll buy that. So they removed their requirement, but then canceled us as soon as the term was up. And then we got canceled after the fires. So it's getting tougher to find insurance companies.
Well, some of them just,
Companies don't have any care about riparian zones?
No, not when it comes to paying out money, I guess. I can't imagine after these California fires that anything's gonna get better.
I think there's insurance companies who just flat out said we're not gonna do business in Oregon anymore. I think there's been quite a few people that have been canceled in the last couple of years. You're paying double.
When I first moved on to that property, I looked at the back of my house down to the river, and there's a lot of trees blocking it. One of them was like about, I don't know, about a 50-year-old maple. And somehow that maple, fell into the river and went on a trip to Hawaii. Before I understood what riparian zones were.
Yeah.
Now I have a beautiful view of the river.
Well, there's actually a new law or something that went into effect with FEMA. I think the city's starting to recognize it, but I think you have to have some type of a impact study. We're talking about the sturgeon and the salmon with cutting trees within a floodway or.
Now, is your house on the riverside of the road of Tyee?
There's, mine's a long, thin piece of property, and my house is closer to the road than it is to the river. But it's a clear, unobstructed view.
It's a nice stretch of the river right there.
On the other side of the river, there's about a 200-acre open field ranch. And there's about 70 head of elk that bed down in that field every day. Thankfully, they never cross the river and come and get in my garden.
They're pretty safe over there, I think. No sense in leaving.
what he's saying is, when we get to the point where we go into executive session, gavel out of the open session, give it a moment, gavel into the executive session, I'll close the door.
Yeah.
And we'll change the recording to not broadcast out for us.
Okay, so let them know. Okay, got it.
There's a picture right here of CCC camp workers working. And one of them, this particular photo is Camp Tyee, which is right across the river from where I live.
Oh, really? That's where they were?
Across the Tyee Access Bridge is where that Camp Tyee was.
So are you across the bridge?
No,
You're just down from the store then, a little ways?
no, I'm just like, just barely a mile north of the Tyee Access Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Just off Tyee on Indian Bend.
Okay, oh, Indian Bend, yeah, got it. You see a lot of fishermen down there. Probably not this year because of the river heights, but my boy, he's down there a lot when the river's down there, he guides.
Great spot.
Yeah,
Woods to Osprey.
what's that?
Woods to Osprey.
Woods to Osprey. It's a good place for bass down there if you wanna have some fun. That is a kick.
Yeah, in the summertime, I think grandkids stand.
Yeah, it's,
Oh, wow.
there's a lot of fish.
It's a fish every cast.
I know, it's fun. You ever see those up the river, up your tributary there, up your creek? Do you see the bass in there?
No, we don't see any bass.
Okay. Just wondered if they.
Fish and Wildlife, they come through and do their stream survey.
Do they?
They walk through the
Yeah.
creek, looking.
That must be kinda, well, of course they do it for carcasses and stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
It's probably when it's pretty low then. But that can get pretty brushy up in there, some of that stuff. Fly, you know, on some of these streams, like the South Umpqua, till they had that accident. And she's a biologist, Hutchiko, he's a watershed manager, but
Now they
his
do
wife.
drones, they do drones?
Well, I don't know if they're into that yet, but that could be, yeah. Like on the Elkin Sixes, they do kayaks, they go down there, count the carcasses, stop off at some of the streams. But drones, I'll bet, is the new thing, that would, they could get a good look at, I guess they could probably program them, the stream thing, you know, I guess, I don't know how that works. How much further do we go? Do we go the full length of 15 minutes to give them to be here, or
Yeah, cause the next person is supposed to be here at 11:47,
11, so we'll go to 11:47 then, okay?
because we had the two dismissals in between this one and the.
Oh, I thought we
and
did
the next
those.
one. Yeah, you did that,
Okay,
but you did it
yeah, right, okay.
ahead of time.
We'll take our kayaks out onto the river and the osprey will catch bass right in front of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Feet away.
It's even fun, my boy does it for some of the clients that are not, you know, used to that. They'll catch a bass and then they'll throw it up, and if it's bleeding or something, it'll be swimming on top. And sure enough, an osprey, oh yeah, we've even had bald eagles do that. Yeah, I'm sure you've got a bunch of those down there.
You know, the osprey are real territorial.
Yeah,
So usually there's a trio that nest by our spot in the river, and they, the bald eagle will come down the river, and the osprey will chase them out.
yeah. Out here at Winchester, we've seen them fight. I mean, up and down and right now it's
The only one is.
the geese are starting to hatching here pretty soon, and then the goslings are a prime target out behind the house.
$20,000.
We've seen that so many times, and now something new, the geese are, well, last, I'd say 15 years, they never used to do it, but they nest on the
The
cliffs.
one that we would have had.
Like at the gun club, if you've ever been at the Rod and Gun Club, those cliffs
All that.
by the swimming hole up there, they're,
I find those cliffs sometime when I was a kid.
17.
oh, really, those cliffs? Yeah,
No,
they're
exception
nesting
because,
in
yeah,
those now. You'll see them up there.
Okay, but yep, that's the only
And
one.
then, of course, the ones that nest down by my house, which is,
Exactly where
oh,
you see them.
eighth of a mile or quarter of a mile
Yeah.
down from that gun club,
Exactly,
those
they don't
fields.
retire, right?
across on Fisher Road, and you just see those
That's how it usually goes.
eagles go down after those
I had somebody
or
on
those little
training,
goslings.
but
It's
because Kathy
unbelievable. Happens every year.
medical thing had to be off today and tomorrow.
And we've had geese in
I
our
couldn't
on top of our
Bring
house.
her down,
We've
I
had
needed
them
her
in-
down there to do
in the
e-recordings.
backyard, in front.
Yes,
That's, again, that's usually how it goes. There's only so many of us in so many places.
right?
They didn't want me, I was just the backup.
No, actually, I
It's good
thought
education.
Tanya was gonna say no, she didn't wanna learn it and I was gonna take you, but she didn't. I had to offer it to her first.
Oh, you live next to the gun club.
30 years. Yeah, we built 95. And we've had the water come up to our second step on our deck one time. I think that was 96.
The
Next
year
year.
after you finished,
Yeah.
apparently.
We do.
Yeah, my wife wasn't very happy. Actually, it went underneath the one corner of our foundation, about a foot and a half. There was a little damp spot, but that was pretty bad.
96 was the year that sinkhole happened from Eagle there.
Jack Mathis, he was a real popular contractor, commercial here in town. He said that once the Browns Bridge, which is by the gun club there, once that broke in the 64 flood, we've got a floodplain and a floodway. He said all that water sucked out. And then they built a bridge higher. And he doesn't think you'd have the flood that you had in 64 as much in our area because of that buildup. I guess the log jam. Do you remember that at all?
By the country club?
Yeah, I mean, it was just,
Well, he used to live right there.
Right,
He
he
had
did.
that racquetball
Yeah,
court.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember my dad talking about that.
but he said that we got jammed up with logs and
There
everything.
was
and
another dam, basically.
Yeah, basically, and it, bottled up everything above that, and he thought that probably, to a point, from the dam down, probably would have been less.
That would make sense, I guess.
I mean, we had to build, I think it's at least a foot above the flood plain, or flood level of this, what is it, 64, yeah, because we built in 95. And I think we were like 14 inches above, but he said that.
Was you outside of the 500-year floodplain?
Well, it's I think they go by the 64 flood, I think, for the building. Yeah, I think,
Those are like two measurements, the 100-year and the 500-year.
yeah, I think it was 100-year that we had to abide by. We had Shaner out and they did the survey, and then we had to build our,
I
at
think it was
least,
2010, they redrew all the maps.
did they? Yeah, they
'Cause I
did.
think Katrina was like in 07 and they needed more money, so they just redrew the maps and got more people in there. It's probably gonna happen now with
Yeah,
hurricanes and fires we've had.
05, Katrina 05.
yeah, I just know they redid it, and the people that didn't have flood insurance after that really got kicked up.
Oh, yeah.
But we were grandfathered because we took it out in 95, and we've kept it all along. Because you can transfer it to a potential, I didn't know that, but Allison Eggers, you would probably
Oh,
remember
okay.
her.
Yeah,
She was
she's
a
at
realtor
Farmers.
there for a while or whatever. She had that, she was at the bond and then,
She was a state farm with farmers.
yeah, okay, that's right, Farmers, and that's right. She she told us that she looked into it and she said that you can assign that. In other words, I can transfer that and the rates are a lot lower.
Yeah.
They're astronomical from what I understand. I don't know what, do you know anything about that? I mean, as far as,
Well, it's weird, I mean, you can have, it's like taxes, you know, you can have the same house next door and it can be completely different,
It
you know,
is.
by a foot.
oh yeah, yeah. And our neighbor had to have it, but he found it somewhat reasonable, or it was on Chapman's first house, you know, right next to us.
Oh.
They built our house too,
Uh,
but was paying more, cause I don't think
is
Duke.
that one Beckley had where they put the
Yep,
pool in?
yeah, he did, you know, he built it and didn't have a mortgage or anything, so he didn't have to worry about it, but the others had to, and it was way more compared to ours, cause we built, you know, 20 years after him. Well, it looks like it's, well, maybe a couple more minutes.
No, it's 11:46.
Okay, we'll give one more minute.
For what, 27?
Late filing.
Well, it was this late filing and then
This was because her petition was late filed?
right, but I mean, was she contesting the, oh, okay.
That's our,
But was she, is there values too?
Yes, she was
Okay.
appealing the value,
So two
yes.
things.
but we can't
But we can't
hear it because it was late filed.
Oh, okay, unless we.
Unless you prioritize.
Okay,
Yeah, we were waiting for her to bring in her evidence that she did not
Okay.
file late.
okay, first we have to assume that, yeah.
So we don't hear anything on that, since she didn't bring in her evidence.
Are they here? Oh, okay, they're not here, okay, well then, all we can do is
Yep.
withdraw, is that what they call it?
Dismiss.
Dismiss, petition, what was it, 27?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we're dismissing petition 27. The next one.
So we have 4 and 18.
Yes, 4 is, we need to go in executive.
Oh, okay. We now, for petition 4, need to go into executive session.
So are we going to do petition 4 or are we gonna do petition
We're
18?
doing 18 if we're going into,
18.
4 is executive,
Or it's executive also, but they're not here either.
oh, okay,
but
is
they
18 here?
can't be in the room for number 4.
Oh, they,
Okay, so we're
Might as well
going
do
in
eight-
for
can
18.